What's up, everybody? How's it going? Thanks for stopping into this video. Today we're going to be looking at some of the blowback that Ricky Gervais got for his 2020 Golden Globe monologue. So let's take a look at it. The 58-year-old former Golden Globe winner of The Office and 5-time host also flippantly reminded the packed room no one cares about movies anymore, and advised if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech. You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Now, I agree and disagree with this. Obviously, if you have a really big stage and you care about something a lot, you are going to take that opportunity to raise your voice and that message. But there is a sliver of truth here. No one really gives a shit what celebrities think. They're extremely wealthy, they're extremely well liked, and they don't really want to be talked down to by some of the most elite people in the world. This is in the same vein of Greta Thunberg. She's a 16-year-old who dropped out of school to be an activist. People don't want to be lectured by a 16-year-old, plain and simple. People don't want to be lectured on climate change by celebrities who seem to not really care about it themselves or take the necessary steps in their own life to combat climate change by not using private jets. I mean, obviously they could take Coach, right? They could do things that would lower their carbon footprint that they're not going to do. But they're going to sit up there and lecture others who can't afford an electric car, who can't really afford to shop vegan. They're going to sit there and patronize them for their choices that they don't really have a choice about. So I understand where he's coming from. But again, it's not like you can ask someone who believes in something to not speak up about it. It's just, how is that going to be received? So while I may agree with the message that a celebrity is saying during a monologue, maybe I don't agree with how they're going about it. Maybe say it during an interview. Maybe don't take the time where you're winning an award, and that's why people are tuning in to watch that, to shove climate change in their face, or to shove women's rights in their face, or something like that. Maybe you should just be grateful for your award and go about your business. I think, people would like you a lot more if you did that. Meryl Streep shook her head. Eddie Murphy refused to smile. Quentin Tarantino looked more disturbed than usual. I don't know about any of that. Everyone seemed fine. Maybe Tom Hanks seemed a little off, but other than that, everyone seemed to enjoy it. The host's acerbic wit was nothing new. He certainly offended in the past from the awards stage, and ads for Sunday's telecast played on the idea that anything could happen, including Gervais being a jerk. His knack for ripping on Hollywood and offending the glitterati is well known among the thin-skinned in the industry. But at the Beverly Hilton, where the 3-hour-plus ceremony took place, the mood was already sober thanks to an impeachment, the threat of war with Iran, and devastating bushfires in Australia. The last thing anyone needed was for the smirking master of ceremonies to reprimand them for having hope, or taunt the room for trying to use their influence to change things for the better. Almost immediately, however, it became clear Gervais wasn't the funniest guy in the room at the 77th Golden Globes, and he wasn't running the show either. Well, maybe that's the point. Maybe the point is all these things are going on in the world, and people don't want to hear about it from celebrities. They hear enough about it from news, people in their lives. People are constantly inundated with these scare tactics and stories. And while they might not be scare tactics, because lots of these things are true, that's what it comes across as. And especially if people don't believe in the things that they're talking about, that's especially what it comes across as. So while I do want us to combat climate change, while I do care about a lot of the things maybe they talked about in their monologues, maybe it's not the right time or place. Maybe you should just be grateful for the award you're receiving and not speak down to the public and how we aren't living up to what we should be doing. If a celebrity got up on stage who had given lots of their money away, who were an activist in this area all the time, not just at the Golden Globes, if people actually knew that they were sincere and not just virtue signaling to the world, maybe it would be more well received. But we don't necessarily know the intentions of someone who's receiving a Golden Globe. The way we see it as they're receiving a Golden Globe, they have tons of money, tons of success, tons of admiration, and they're taking this time to speak down to people who watch their fucking movies and TV shows, as if I'm not doing all I can to combat climate change. Now, I'm just telling you how a lot of people see this. I don't necessarily have a huge problem with celebrities talking at the Golden Globes, given I don't watch the Golden Globes or pay really any close attention to Hollywood at all, but I can see why people don't want to hear from celebrities when it comes to politics. I mean, it's just bad optics in every single way. Ramy Youssef won the first award of the night for his comedy performance in the Hulu series Ramy, and used his moment to make a point about diversity, make the audience actually laugh, and take a dig at Gervais. We made a very specific show about an Arab Muslim family living in New Jersey, and it means a lot to be recognized on this level, Youssef said in his acceptance speech. He joked that no one in the room had seen his show, and even his mom wanted competitor Michael Douglas, the Kaminsky method, to win because Egyptians love Michael Douglas. Youssef also appeared to refer to a demeaning bit from Gervais's monologue about actors thanking God in an acceptance speech when he opened his with Allahu Akbar, I want to thank my God. Yes, Allahu Akbar means God is great, but let's not pretend that's not also a calling card when someone's blowing shit up. I mean, you know how many times I've heard Allahu Akbar right before something blows up? Enough times for me to make the association that it means shit blowing up, not my God is great. Call me a bigot for making that association, given that it's happened enough times in my life for me to do that, and given people know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about when I go, Allahu Akbar, psh. You know what I'm talking about. Don't pretend like you don't. Gervais's disingenuous call for an apolitical evening was also answered by Russell Crowe in Abstentia when he won for actor in a limited series or TV movie for Showtime's Roger Ailes docudrama The Loudest Voice. Quote, make no mistake, the tragedy unfolding in Australia is climate change based, the actor wrote in a statement. Read by an audibly emotional Jennifer Aniston, we need to act based on science, move our global workforce to renewable energy, and respect our planet for the unique and amazing place it is. And again, you know, not a bad statement on face value, but it's pretending like the rest of the world doesn't know this. Same with Greta Thunberg. It's pretending that a 16-year-old knows better than the rest of the world. It's as if the rest of the world needs to be reminded that there's a huge fire going on in Australia. And if it wasn't for Jennifer Aniston or these celebs at the Golden Globes, we would all just be so misinformed about it, you know? Patricia Arquette, a winner of the act, noted that the continent of Australia is on fire within a speech condemning President Trump's recent targeting killings of Iran's general, while Foss Verdon, winner Michelle Williams, used her acceptance speech to defend abortion rights. Even Gervais eventually relented, sending off the telecast with, please donate to Australia. Yeah, he relented, right? Maybe he was just making a statement that a lot of the population feels. And maybe you guys should have started like a fundraiser while you were at the event. I mean, some of the richest people in America are in that room. So maybe ask for money instead of just saying that there is a fire happening in Australia. Maybe pull your guys' resources together to do something about it instead of just what a lot of people would consider virtue signaling. And what a lot of people consider virtue signaling is when you get out there to say that something is wrong, but you're not doing a damn thing about it yourself. You doing something about it was literally you saying something about it. Politics aside, the telecast's strongest comedic moment erupted when Gervais was offstage. A dapper Sacha Baron Cohen, introducing film contender Jojo Rabbit, got a rousing response from the room. The hero of his next movie is a naive, misguided child who spreads Nazi propaganda and only has imaginary friends, he said. His name is Mark Zuckerberg. Sorry, this is an old intro for social networks. Ha ha ha, yes. Sacha Baron Cohen is one of the most offensive comedians in the world. The entirety of Borat was based off of social stereotypes. Now, Sacha Baron Cohen can say that he did these characters in order to show how naive and misguided America was in accordance with foreigners. But if you look at it at face value, all it really is him creating a stereotype about foreigners, that they have sex with cows and their sisters. Ali G was a white guy who was pretending to be black and was every single stereotype about a black person you could possibly think of. So I find it crazy that Sacha Baron Cohen, out of everyone, is going to go after Facebook for allowing ads on their website, without going over every single one of them. The entirety of his comedy is about stereotypes, right? And then he's going to get on and get mad at Mark Zuckerberg because he doesn't want to go over every single ad on fucking Facebook. If the solution is censor every single thing on Facebook, if our solution is to cut off information from people, even if it's the wrong information, and who gets to decide what's the correct information, that is a bad solution. We need to work on improving people's intellect and making them better at critical thinking, not dumbing down the information they're getting, because it will always end up bad. And what I would much rather have is people learn to think for themselves. People learn not to accept the first thing they read on a headline as true. And if that's not the case and people don't think like that, and we're now just feeding them the correct information, that's also going to end poorly. That also has bad consequences in it. If we are literally having to spoon feed people the correct information. And again, I'll say, who's to say what is the correct information? The Golden Globes were criticized for lacking diversity in their nominations, from the relative dearth of people of color in the performance categories to the total exclusion of female directors. Gervais joked about the lack of representation by explaining quite simply that the Golden Globes voting body in Hollywood foreign press is racist. And the crazy part is that no one was really mentioning this before Ricky Gervais did. So if you literally bring up a problem of diversity and you're joking, the people who care about it actually are going to use it. And can we please get away from this diversity thing when it comes to awards? If you're winning an award based on diversity, you're not winning an award. You're being kowtowed to. You're being pitied. How about this? We will nominate the awards for people who deserve them. How about we give Best Director to the Best Director? How about we give Best Actor to the Best Actor? And we don't just put black people in there to fill some sort of quota. Now, maybe there's a year where it's all black people because they made the best movies. That wouldn't be a problem. But if there's a year where it's all white people because those are the best movies, that shouldn't be a problem either. People should win awards based on merit, not their fucking skin color. And for God's sake, if I hear one more time about not enough women representation in Hollywood, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Do you know how many jobs there are out there that are majority men? What about just fishermen, crab fishers? Some of the most dangerous jobs in the world are majority men. And I don't hear anybody complaining about that. Only the jobs as a Hollywood director, which I would love to be a Hollywood director, by the way. It's my dream job. I'm never going to be a Hollywood director, and you're lucky if you become one. And maybe I'll take it serious that there's not enough women directors when we talk about the fact that there's not enough women plumbers. You know, until then, shut the fuck up, really. There's not enough women directors. Make a good movie. How about that? Make a movie people want to watch, and don't make Charlie's Angels reboot. Elizabeth Banks. The harsh joke landed better than most of his wisecracks. It seemed to show that Gervais might care, at least a bit, about a larger injustice in the industry. His jab at the hypocrisy of Hollywood also resonated. Apple roared into the TV game with The Morning Show, a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing. Made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. He said to the new entrant to streaming TV, "Well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for in China, unbelievable. Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you?" The commentary would have meant far more if Gervais himself had been brave enough to drop the tired agitator shtick and for once read the room. Oh wow, I love this. When people want to condemn comedians or something because they're offended by something, go ahead and call it outdated or not funny or unable to read a room. We can see what you're saying from a mile away. You're saying, I'm offended, I didn't like it, but I can't say that, so I'm gonna come up with another reason I don't like it. And while he actually did bring up something important, it's still a joke. It's a joke to show you how hypocritical Hollywood and celebrities can be. Now, not all of them, of course. I do believe that there are well-intentioned celebrities who mean well and want to do good in the world. But you have to know that PR is a thing and people have agents for a reason. Celebrities try to win over the population so they'll come see their next movie. So if you think that everything you ever hear from a celebrity, wasn't ever passed through their PR or their agent, you're crazy. This is why I'm very wary and skeptical of what people say who have to answer to a higher authority. Talking heads who have to answer to their bosses. Celebrities who have to answer to producers or executives. There's good reason why people are skeptical of the Hollywood industry. And it shows the glaring hypocrisy. They're going to get on stage and talk about all these things that make them look good, but they're still going to work for industries that are dog shit when it comes to morals. Disney, Apple, Amazon, all these things are money-grubbing whores who don't really care about morals or ethics in the slightest. These are businesses out to make a profit, and that's it. Same with celebrities a lot of the time. So while they get up and talk about climate change and, oh, we're going to war and Australia, they participate in things like sweatshops. They work side by side with companies who don't give a shit about any of that stuff and actually actively make it worse. And it's funny that Harvey Weinstein wasn't brought up in this article, because if you look at this, a lot of fucking people knew what was happening with Harvey Weinstein and they didn't say a damn thing. So if a lot of Hollywood is going to cover up sexual abuse, do you think the rest of the world really wants to hear from them about anything else in regards to morals? And it's absolutely amazing all the articles that can come out about these companies, Disney, Apple, Amazon, and how people truly don't give a shit. Out of sight, out of mind. Nike still sells incredibly well. Disney Plus is bigger than ever. You know, just give me Marvel, give me Apple Watches, and, you know, do whatever the fuck else you want. Make the world a horrible place, and I'll still watch your TV shows. Same with celebrities. Make the world a horrible place, and I'll still act in your fucking movies. Or I'll cover up sexual assault and then turn around and talk about women's rights. So basically, it's just glaring hypocrisy coming out of Hollywood that people just don't give a shit about. And I love Ricky Gervais because he points this out. He isn't your typical Hollywood type. He turns everything back on Hollywood, and that's what he did in this monologue, and it was absolutely great. I highly recommend it. You should go watch it now. But anyways, I'm done with this rant. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and please like it if you liked it, and maybe share it. Yeah? All right, I'm done with this video. Y'all have a fucking fantastic day.